would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Hey guys, Robert and Ingrid here.
What in the flying foot was that?
No kidding! We just got done, well, okay, I watched it a while ago, but she just got done watching the rest of the Godzilla anime trilogy, and what a hot mess!
What a hot mess, indeed.
I mean, what?
We even start.
Okay, first of all, let's just get off the bat. This is an inverse of the Rebirth of Monster trilogy, which we've done.
And the third are garbage fires, and the second one is tolerable if you mentally file off the references to Godzilla stuff.
Yeah. Oh, right. Good God. Yeah, it's just, you know what I mean, right?
Oh yes, I know what I mean. It's just, you know what you mean. It's just, damn, it's a hot pile of nihilistic, self-projected nonsense.
Sorry. It's sorry for having to put you through that, is what I mean.
Oh, I think that has given me, in a way, it's given me some new motivation to keep on writing out of spite, because I know that trilogy exists in the world, and I can do better than that. I have done better than that before on the same themes, in various respects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, by the end, I was just like, you know what? I want to see the entirety of this trash fire so I can rip this pretentious, edgy bullshittery to the ground in its entirety.
Right. Completely agree. It's just... and okay, I'm getting up the information right now on the trilogy. Give me one moment.
Oh boy, do I have a lot of things to say.
Yeah, I just want to get all the details straight on it, alright? So...
Yeah.
Okay, so this one was a screenplay and story, by, not direction, but screenplay and story by Gen Urobuchi, who was best known for doing Clara Magi Madoka Magica, Fate Zero, Psychopath, and Pass, and Kamen Rider Game, among others. And
that is definitely a surprise to me, because I liked at least the anime season of Madoka Magica I watched. It's like, yeah, it was dark and grim, but it did manage to, like, successfully deconstruct and then reconstruct the fuck out of the entire magical girls genre in a way that was innovative, and then a lot of people missed the point and made a lot of edgy knockoffs.
Yep,
and then the creator itself did the exact same thing to it.
With the movie, by re-deconstructing it.
But yeah, this was just, yeah, they sort of make a situation where it is absolutely clear that humanity can't win against Godzilla from, like, the word go.
Yeah.
He's already destroyed it to the point where they're basically in a pod in space with, well, a couple of alien races that don't even look like aliens. Like, hot damn, the Showa authors had a lot more creativity with their aliens than these guys, and these guys had infinitely better special effects to make more cool and interesting aliens.
You had an anime budget! You had an animation budget! You could do whatever the hell you want!
And you just reskinned people! That is so lazy! That is so criminal!
Yeah, from what I understand, the company that did this, Polygon Pictures, from what I understand, they're notorious for that. They're the same. Oh, wait. They're the ones who. Oh, they actually helped out with Transformers Prime and Tron Uprising. Never mind! They should be better than that! Transformers Prime, Tron Uprising, those are some great shows! What the hell happened? Did Netflix just give them like a cheap budget?
Yeah, it's just like, what the hell? It's just.
But
that's only the start of this nonsense.
Oh, by the way, Gen, he only fully wrote the first and third. The second one had other writers.
That explains a whole lot, because the second movie was at least tolerable to watch and had at least. The themes made a bit more sense, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, let's start with the first one. As we're introduced to the main character, Haruo Sakaki. Voice in the English dub by Chris Niosi. Best known for, a lot of his web cartoons and all that, and he's hold on, let me double check what else he's done. He's actually been in Fate Paprika. He's been in Dragon Ball Super. Oh, he was going to be in Fire Emblem, but then he broke his non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, but you had that, you had a bunch of other characters, but he's our main character. With Yuko being the love interest. That was the love interest, right, Yuko?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. I'm struggling to remember details about this movie because I feel like I'm intentionally trying to repress more and more of it every second.
Okay, to sum up the first movie, Godzilla appeared. A big Godzilla. Bigger than we've seen before. He totally chases off humanity, and they've left. Many thousands of years later decided, let's come back to Earth and retake our home. So they all, basically everyone on Earth decided, let's all go together. All right, and when they make it there, basically, by the time they reach the surface, they find out 20,000 years have elapsed due to, the relativistic effect. And basically, Godzilla's presence there has totally affected all of Earth. So once they land down there, they deal with a bunch of monsters, and eventually Haruo, he is obsessed with getting rid of Godzilla. And that's putting it mildly, isn't it?
That's putting it. I'd say he's mildly obsessed with Godzilla to the point where it's its only recognizable character.
At least in the first one more so. They do. One of the benefits I will give them, they do loosen it up in the next two.
Yeah, but that's basically his only recognizable trait in this movie. And honestly, the characters are so damn flat throughout this entire series.
Yep, but they're able to win against Godzilla. They actually take him down. Then comes the twist. It wasn't the original. This was his son, and the original one is over 300 meters tall.
Yeah, there's no way in hell they're winning against that one.
And they make that very clear at the very end. It's like, there's no way of them winning, and they just pissed him off. And now it's like, well, humanity's fucked. How can we do this? And if they ended it there, that would have been a nice twist. I would say this. If they had just ended on this one movie, it would have been fine. Perfectly fine. Great twist. What a twist.
Yeah, it would have been an interesting subversion, but then the third movie happened.
But we're not there yet.
The second movie isn't as bad, but then the third movie happened.
Yeah, the second movie, and so they leave, and we're also introduced to this indigenous girl that Haruo wakes up in, which is the post-credit. So we then lead into City on the Edge of Battle. Weird name.
Yeah, and at first I'm wondering, where is a city in a particular situation like this?
Well, we do see that city eventually. But yeah, basically then, everyone's, the people are trying to find him, all that, basically they all meet up in this, what ends up being this MechaGodzilla city!
Yeah, apparently a city grew on top of MechaGodzilla's corpse due to replicating nanometal.
Yeah. maybe that's part of the reason why this wasn't that such a bad movie was because of that.
Yeah, that might have helped take the edge off because that.
When has MechaGodzilla ever been bad for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the MechaGodzilla we're typically used to. I mean, technically he's already dead, but I have to admit that a self-replicating, self-constructing city is a pretty badass concept.
Yeah.
And
But
they
yeah.
did a pretty great effect during this actual movie.
But then comes the big problem. Godzilla is hardly utilized in this one. It's mostly
Yeah.
about the nanomechs, or nanotech. Then eventually Yuko gets put into a coma. And we're told, oh, that Metphis, how do you say it? It's Metphis?
I forgot.
The guy who talks about, you know, his homeworld being destroyed by Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, first MechaGodzilla, then Ghidorah. Oh, and also we find out bugs have evolved into humanoids. Where it's a pair of twins who are safeguard protecting an egg. Now, of course, giving us false hope we're gonna get Mothra. Spoilers, we never do.
Sad face. Another thing that this movie disappointed me with.
By the end of it all, MechaGodzilla City is destroyed. It was to save the Earth. Godzilla's still alive. Yuko's now in a coma, and most of the other surviving humans are with misfits as everything burns around them. Oh wow! But again, we think with Mothra's egg around, we think, oh, Mothra's gonna come back, or maybe Ghidorah will show up and they'll kill each other. Yeah, then comes the next.
You have to give the second movie credit that at least
a little bit of hope. A little bit. It's a downer, but there's a little bit of hope.
Yeah, and like the particular theme they decided to go with here is the sort of he who fights monsters theme, because one of the alien races was really interested in merging with MechaGodzilla City and becoming a monster, and that was a theme that emerged out of the whole thing a lot more naturally than some of the other nonsense, and was something like, okay, I can kind of vibe with that one.
But the third movie!
The third movie, oh lord, where do we start with this absolute...
One, anti-religion. 2, humans are bastards. 3, technology is evil.
Yeah, that basically sums it up in 3 points. And well, let's just say I'm about ready to go ham on the first
Go
one.
right
I'm
up.
an actual religious person myself.
Go right ahead.
Say, the whole idea that science and faith are in conflict was basically a 19th century invention.
Basically, people utilizing the church. It wasn't from what I understand correctly, it was basically people who were part of the church who already had a political viewpoint on things. It wasn't all the church, like a lot of people like to think. Is that about right?
And a lot of people on the other side of things who sort of like read a couple of Enlightenment ideas wrong and got the wrong idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no inherent conflict in idea that there's a certain system of rules that the universe operates by, and that there could be an entity outside of that system that interacts with it sometimes.
Right.
Those ideas aren't in conflict, but you wouldn't know that from the dumbass speculation you see in this movie.
Nope. And then
It's
again,
like, I feel like I'm being forced to watch some edgy takes on religion just with some really high budget stuff, and it's just like, dude, I'm not impressed.
but here's the other thing. Haruo Haruo has been, Yuko is his true love, and he seems to be banging every other female in the rest of the series in this movie.
Yeah, that just made me feel really, really uncomfortable.
He's like, why are you going through with
I
it?
need to get him to hook up with one of the twins.
Well, he did.
I didn't need to do that. That was creepy as hell.
And it turns out it's the wrong twin that they were setting up.
No.
That's what made it worse. It's like, okay, I might accept you to take care of the twin. Wait, that's not even the twin you were setting him up with. What the hell? But we'll get to that. Then Ghidorah. Oh God, we basically lose all of the except for one. Every single remaining human gets wiped out. Because
they get talked into summoning. They're giving up their souls to summon Ghidorah to stop.
And by Metis, who said that his race was wiped out by Ghidorah, but nope, apparently he's a religious zealot who thinks we need Ghidorah. And including Adam. I felt bad for Adam. I felt...
Another case of like, oh, everything is destined for destruction, so we should embrace it. Shut up with your nihilistic prattling and stop
And
projecting it onto the rest of us.
And I felt bad for Adam, but he was clearly the example of the idiot who doesn't realize until it's too late.
Yeah, the useful idiot sort of.
Yep, and then they all get chomped up by spiritual Ghidorahs.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Yeah, and then this Ghidorah is just...
Now, what did you expect from Ghidorah? We'll get to our problems with Godzilla at the end. But in this case, how do you make a Ghidorah that's able to deal with this Godzilla, but then make him practically this god-like creature?
Honestly, I would have been happier if they went more the Eldritch Horror route with this Ghidorah, but as it stands, it kind of just looks
it's
like
a spirit.
Generic dragon spirit thing. Like,
yeah,
this is the opportunity to go full-on reality warping terror, and that's sort of...
Nope, he just picks him up and bites. He just slowly bites him as he keeps him held up in the air. It's like, this is the most boring monster fight we've ever seen. Worse than just rewatching Super Monsters.
Yeah, it's just like...
These are entertaining, really.
Because a lot of the fight is apparently supposed... It's like a lot of the characters are commenting on the fight, but there is not much substance to the actual
it's just
fight
like,
itself.
oh! And guys are like, oh! And then they win, and then Haruo, because, okay, for some reason they decide to listen to the crazy idiot, psycho, who convinced them all to kill themselves by also saying, oh, because he said it, we should give up our technology. All technology. Technology, bad. Even though he convinced everyone to kill themselves, he decided, let's believe what he said and get rid of all of our technology. No more reliance on...
What the hell?
It's like, no, because the guy convinced everyone to kill themselves, you should not agree, or at the very least, maybe take it with a grain of salt and be like, okay, we'll cut back on technology and not rely on it. That's not a bad idea, but just say, nope, we're going back to nature, get rid of all of our medicine that can help us survive, we'll probably all die out anyway. And then Haruo, because again, crazy guy said, oh, you're destined to destroy everything, although he could be wrong. He decided, oh, I'm gonna destroy myself with Yuki by just flying at Godzilla, having him destroy us. Oh, and he leaves with the twin that he married knocked up. Where to begin? Where to begin? Okay, let's talk about the big issue, emphasis on big. Godzilla himself. He's too big!
That's just, it was never going to work with the scaled up size that much.
I mean, granted, there's no other chance. Toho's won. There's no way America can make a Godzilla bigger. Because you can't do anything with a Godzilla this big!
It's like, yeah, like, what else is Godzilla really going to do? There's, like, no real opportunity for character or, like, creativity.
And he had no personality outside of a rage that his son died!
Yeah!
That is all the personality he had was. Rage, otherwise he was just a lumbering lummox.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like, everyone's like, oh, he's a great evil.
I know Godzilla was engineered to be a walking metaphor, but he wasn't this blatant even in the original King of the Monsters.
No! It was just like... And his son had more personality!
Yeah! The one that actually died.
Yeah! And then it's just like, again, if they had ended it with just the big reveal of, oh, there's a bigger Godzilla, he's what wiped out humanity, we're all fucked, that would have been fine. Did we need the right?
They ended there, but then they didn't know.
Heck, you could have wiped every humanity out right then and there if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we had to go through MechaGodzilla, which was, again, that's all, the fact that it's sandwiched between these two bad movies makes it pointless. Because
yeah,
then
it's just like there is no value in really watching it because it's retroactive.
Literally, like 99% of humanity is wiped out, dead. Now they're gonna have to survive by mating with the evolved bugs, which we know is it's possible thanks to Haruo's kid that he's abandoning. Besides, isn't that against a lot of beliefs in Japan to abandon family like that?
Family is an absolutely huge thing in Japan.
So yeah, why is Gen encouraging Haruo to die, sacrifice himself? Like, if you want to get rid of Yuko, fine, eject yourself at the last second so you can be with your wife and kid. Or does he just feel like he's that broken? I mean,
Maybe he just realized how awful of a movie he was in and wanted to escape it all.
well, it was the final movie anyway, but seriously, this was not a Godzilla movie. And
No, this was a movie that just so happened to have the Godzilla name on it, and it really showed.
again, it's like Paul Feig and Ryan Johnson. Great when you give them their own thing to work at, with perfect freedom to deconstruct the stuff they want to, and they'll get their message across. But you give them a licensed, already established franchise, they can't do anything with it because their desire to ruin it, and it's something that is beloved, they don't care because they want to deconstruct it, is shit. Because they can't help themselves.
Yeah, it's just like, you put on the wrong writer to do this. There's just no two ways around it.
The direction was fine, the animation was stellar, the voice acting was
They
good.
couldn't save the actual plot. It's like it was an entire great cast stuck in hell.
Exactly. This is the opposite of our issues was Rebirth of Monster 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that one, fire everyone. This case, fire just the writer.
Mm-hmm. And it probably would have done a lot to save this thing, or just take the Godzilla name off it and have it be a more generic kaiju.
I mean, he didn't look much like Godzilla in the first place.
Yeah, it didn't feel like watching Godzilla in the first place to just own that fact. Like, yeah, if it had, like, it would have still been really edgy and nihilistic, but it wouldn't necessarily taint the Godzilla name.
Yeah, I wouldn't have cared for the show either way, but at least I wouldn't have this fury. Especially, again, because, I mean, yeah, he does look like, the MonsterVerse Godzilla, but bloated, doesn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
But the animation, it's because he's so big, it doesn't look right on him at all.
Yeah.
And again, the fact that Mothra was never used. What the hell?
It's like, it's one thing to rehash the same Mothra plot all over again.
It's another to
It's another
cock
thing to
tease
take
it.
her and then just not have her show up in any capacity at all.
Oh, but they're saying, oh, but she might awaken and destroy Godzilla. Maybe. Doubt it with how powerful he is and how you have shown zero signs about how powerful she would be.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if he was able to stop Ghidorah. Yeah, I don't think Monster's going to stand a chance. I think Monster's just going to piss him off and he's just going to take her out in one blast.
Yeah.
Again, what was the point of this trilogy? In the end, by the end of it all, and oh, you care to give a rant to what I told you about the people who liked this movie complaining about Kingdom of the Monsters?
Oh,
Or King
boy,
of the Monsters?
Oh boy.
Seriously, they are insane. These are the people who complained about, who said, oh, this is better. The people who are, yeah, the Toho purists who are like, oh, only Toho does it right. Or, oh.
No. There's a certain thing that you sort of generally come to expect with Godzilla. You got big monster fights, sometimes with interesting human plots, and sometimes with a little bit of social commentary on the sides because the monsters are big walking metaphors. But this is just some pretentious, edgy bullshit that is ashamed of being called Godzilla, so it tries desperately not to.
Too bleak, stop caring.
Godzilla label.
Yeah,
Give me King of the Monsters any day, or frick, even give me some of the C-list Showa movies over this tripe.
I was about to say was too bleak, stop caring.
Yeah, there's just a point where it's just like, well, there's no hope in the story, so why should I give a damn about anything that happens?
Exactly, and again, I just seen so many people complain about that. They complain about Ghidorah saying, "Oh, the King of the Monsters looked like a generic-looking Smog XP, and the three bickering heads made for some nightmare retardant." What the hell? I thought it was even more evil.
Yeah. What movie did you watch?
Yeah, and what the hell made you think that this Ghidorah was a good improvement?
Now that I thought about it, I would really love to see an Eldritch horror version of Ghidorah, like Cthulhu Ghidorah instead.
Yeah, and the other thing is when people say, "Oh, the humans," here's what it says: it lacked the King of the Monsters lacked any of the sort of development with the human characters in favor of being a big action scene. Did we watch the same movie? What characterization?
Did you not see all of the struggles with Maddie? Like, compared to the other movie, her mom is a lot more engaging of a character
Haruo.
in this than a lot of the characters we see
Yeah, because at least with her, hers was her immediate son who died at Godzilla, because of Godzilla's attack. She is still in the mourning period.
And grief makes people do crazy things sometimes.
And now, while Haruo was grieving about his family being lost, I'm sorry, once you've realized 20,000 years has passed, yeah, I think that should take the wind out of your sails, not make you even more angry.
Yeah, there's a point where, like, it's acknowledged with mental health circles that if your grief keeps on persisting past a certain point, you need to seek extra help.
Exactly.
Basically. But yeah, it's just like, I barely remember any of the characters from this movie. Meanwhile, I can remember plenty of the characters that I like from the other Godzilla movies, like Miki, like Akane,
Yeah.
like Kiriko.
Exactly. But it just, again, like you said, what the flying fuck did we just watch? And the funny thing is, it's a good thing we're not counting these in our review, in our rankings.
They're not really Godzilla movies when you really slice it at the end of the day. It's not a case of, oh, this is a bad Godzilla movie. No, we've moved out of the realm of it really being a Godzilla.
But if I had to, the Planet Eater would be the worst of them all, beneath even Revenge.
Wow. At least Revenge at least had a bit of sincerity to it, even if it was horribly executed on.
Horribly executed, but at least it had heart.
Mm-hmm.
This had no heart. This had nothing but cruel, nasty, take that, this. I mean, when the guy who worked on Evangelion used Shin Godzilla as a palate cleanser!
God damn!
What does that tell you? He used it to calm himself down so he can go back and finish Evangelion. He didn't use it to say, I'm gonna further Evangelion up Godzilla. I mean, he kind of did, technically, with how Shin Godzilla operated, but...
That was a way that made it actually more interesting.
Yeah, whereas this, Godzilla was... I mean, I know there's no notion of Godzilla as a boring, invincible monster. This is the worst case example of that! Godzilla is beyond a boring, invincible monster. He is just this... Just by... Again, if it was just the one movie, I'd be fine. I'd be perfectly fine.
Like, yeah, sure, it was a little bit edgy, but that's an interesting...
You would have... And it would have been a bleak ending, but it would have been more of an ironic ending. It would have been like a Twilight Zone episode. You know, they show up there, they look around, they find the monster, they take him down, they realize, wow, that was almost too easy. Uh-oh, that was the baby, here comes mommy, and he's pissed. She's pissed. Fade to black, rocks fall, everyone dies. But nope, we needed to stretch it out, and then, oh, it's bad enough that the people on Earth are. No, we gotta wipe almost everyone else out on Earth, because humans are bastards.
I get really tired of humans are the real monsters kind of plots, because...
How is it with Godzilla? How? Explain that with me. Yes, they ticked him off. They went about the wrong way. I admit it. But what are they supposed to do?
Unilaterally condemn people is bad just based on a few bad actors? I mean...
Now, I will say this. Yes, why did they have to bring all of humanity to Earth? Why not send and have people recolonize another world, then send the group on, and then they show up if they get word, and if they fail, they wait a while to try again, if not give up. Why did everyone from humanity have to come with them?
Yeah, that was just dumb.
And again, you think it sounds all right at first, but once you get to the third movie, you realize, oh, because when they all get killed when the ship gets destroyed by Ghidorah, what was the point?
What was the point indeed?
And again, it's because, why, they're basically saying humanity's going to phase out and the bug people are taking over. That's very much what it sounds like they're saying, isn't it? Humanity's just going to transition, the bug people are going to be the new dominant species, and they're going to make up for humanity's mistake by relying on nature, never technology.
Just another tired old example of the noble savage trope.
The noble savage trope. Why is that so many people in Japan seem to always accept that trope, I've noticed?
Lack of nuance. I mean, even a lot of leftist rhetoric is basically just like, it's not necessarily all of humanity that's the environmentalist problem. It's a couple of rich elites and big corporations doing most of the damage. It's just like, how can they get that but not this?
Okay, Can I tell you this? You know, there's only one other anime I've seen that really pisses me off, but it's become my go-to example for when people saying no animes have woke agendas.
What's
First of all,
that?
this one's one of them. But tell me if you ever heard of Master of Martial Arts.
I have not heard of that one, and it's probably for the best that I haven't heard of it.
Okay, it's basically a cruel means. The first 4 episodes come off like a traditional fetish martial arts, type of thing, like Icky Towsend, you know what I mean? Where all their boobs are jumping around while they're fighting and everything. You get a lot of panty shots, but it's all good fun. Then come the 5th episode where you find out, oh, this was all a lie. Everyone has been defeated. They have been brainwashed and resorted to being almost mindless sex slaves. The people there hated the main girl, always did. And even though she did nothing wrong, all of this was to torture her and be cruel to her because of something her parents did that she was unaware of. And they want to show you're a real monster like your parents, even though she was pushed to that degree. And all of this whole pointless mean stuff just to be like saying how you are all disgusting pigs for liking this type of anime and you should be ashamed of yourselves. Wouldn't you say this is almost right up there, the Godzilla thing? It's almost feel like you should be ashamed for being a kaiju fan. I mean, think about it. It does feel that way. It's like you should never fight back against the kaiju. You should just let them destroy you because we deserve it. Isn't that what it feels like?
Lots that are a lot. When you sort of like human and non-human elements, where it's just like, you know what? Everybody can be a bastard, and everyone can be a good person, regardless of your origins.
Exactly. I completely agree. Well, I think that's all we have to say.
That's why the Heisei era was so good. Because
yes! Yes! Especially with the notion, same with okay, both Showa and Heisei had to be where Godzilla eventually became a good guy. Although Heisei was the only one where it was organic.
Yeah.
And even then, it wasn't the main Godzilla. It was Junior.
Yeah.
We find out.
It's where humanity eventually learned from its mistakes that ended up creating the original Godzilla.
Exactly. And it showed that by interacting with, thanks to Mickey, by interacting with his baby constantly, making him realize humans that there could be bastards, but not all humans are bad. We're going to have a Godzilla that's never going to destroy Tokyo so long as no one pisses him off. Mm-hmm. And he's not going to just be like, oh, I'm just going to go stomp around. No, he's going to be like, nah, they're not bothering me. I'm not going to bother them.
He's like
huge difference.
Like a bee in monster form.
Exactly. All thanks to Mickey. Because of how much of like a mother figure she was to him. More so than the one part where the woman he imprinted on, but you know what I mean? But it's like, it became organic, and it showed that humanity can live and survive. And again, you don't, and yes, it's the only time we've had a Godzilla, the boring invincible monster. That was done in Godzilla, Monster, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters, All Out Attack. But even that one, they won. 2, that was the point. It was all the anger. At least there you had a reason for why Godzilla was so damn powerful, and that it was a bad thing, but still humanity triumphed. Mm-hmm. Here, it's like, nope, Godzilla just happens to exist, and it's just humanity's time to end.
Yeah, it's just, get your projected misanthropic bullshit out of here.
Exactly, and again, just the idea of just like, when these monsters show up, just kiss your ass goodbye and accept your death. If you get away, don't bother coming back. That's what it feels like the message was, right? Either
something
kiss
like that. There was just no point to all of it.
Yeah, lay down and die, or if you do escape, never come back because it's not your world. Because you brought this upon yourself. Why was the point? Why not make it a 2-parter at least? Why do we need the hopefulness of the 3rd one? The second one.
It was the only time they had people who were actually half decent writers on the cast, and then we went back to...
Again, Gen is not a bad writer.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact
he's bad in this particular context.
Right. He's bad in this context because he was given an actual existing property and just decided to dump on it. Because, like I said, just like Rian Johnson with Star Wars, even if he's a fan of the work, he can't help himself. He can't. He literally cannot help himself. He has to deconstruct it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say this. Madoka Magica is for Gen what Knives Out was for Ryan Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean by that? Where you take these two different genres and you deconstruct it in a way, but it's great because it's its own self-contained thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got God, and just as much as Godzilla is to Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this is our final portion, and as far as our recordings go, anyway, of our Godzilla retrospective. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. You'll be checking out our final thoughts. Mine sans this. That's part of the reason why we put so much effort into this, because we didn't even talk about it in our overall retrospective, for good reason. I think this would have, if we had watched this by the time we recorded that, this would have tainted everything.
It really would have. I'm glad we managed to keep our memory fresh, and now I'm going to go right back to trying to repress my knowledge of this movie.
Go rewatch Singular Point.
I know what, I think I might go finish up Arcane. That's another thing, animated thing that's
Because Singular Point got it right!
Singular Point got it right. Singular Point clearly understood what the assignment was, and it did some twists that made the original stuff from the original property better in hindsight.
Exactly.
Like Ingress, him being badass and introducing the idea that these monsters are otherworldly creatures, and him ultimately having the spear made out of him that Jet Jaguar wielded against Godzilla in the end.
Exactly. But yeah, so check that out. But yeah, thank you all, and we'll see you all on the next one. And after this, well, not yet. After this, you'll see what we're talking about was our Rebirth of Mothra retrospective, which will be after this. So see you all later.